I want to share with you one of the mistakes that we've always made in January with selling that we have fixed, and it helps us sell a lot more jobs in January. Before we get started, my name is Eric. I'm the founder of Painting Business Pro, where I coach painting contractors to build and scale companies to the millions of dollars. I also run a portfolio of painting companies myself. We do over $25 million a year and growing quickly. So for many years at our company, we would always have the same thing happen in January, which was our sales rates were down. So the way that our seasonality always looked is that, we would have lower sales rates in January, February, and then they would get a little higher in March, April, and May. And then they'd be pretty steady through the summer, and then they would peak in the fall, and then they would start to fall off again in January. And I think that if you can sell 60% of your estimates in September, then you can sell 60% of your estimates in January, and you can sell 60% of your estimates in April, and seasonality doesn't matter. When you're selling jobs, it's because you're doing something differently. If you think about the seasonality and we'll talk about January in a second, but if you think about the seasonality at the end of the year, so in August or September, the reason that sales goes up at that time of year is because there's natural urgency. There is a deadline for people to buy, because if they don't buy, they don't get their house painted before winter comes. And so there's a natural urgency, not just because they know that they need to decide, but also as an estimator or painting contractor, I'm telling customers like, oh, you want to get it done? Cool, I need to know. It's not like bad pressure, but there's pressure to actually make a decision. There's a reason to buy. And so I think that there's also needs to be a reason to buy any other time throughout the year in your sales cycle. And so what we noticed is that every January, sales rates would start low and we would get frustrated, and then my estimators would say the same things to me every year. I'd say, why is your sales rate only 35% right now? And they say, well, people just aren't ready yet. I mean, it's January. Oh, I was talking with, Cindy at her estimate. She doesn't even want to paint until April. And so she just said she wasn't ready to buy. She wants to think about it. And people just aren't ready. And my answer is BS. There's something you're not doing in the sales process. And so this is how we fix it. All right, so we have fixed this, and now we know every January, this is a training we do with our team every single January to make sure that sales rates start high. Because, selling 50% of your estimates in January versus 35 when we're doing, 50 estimates a week, that's a big number. That's an extra couple $100,000 in sales for us. That's an extra $80,000 to $100,000 that hits the bottom line by the end of the year. It's significant. So hope this helps you. So the first principle is people need a reason to buy. And so we do that in two different ways in our sales process. And we do this all year. The first thing is we give people a reason to buy is to save money. That's the best reason for people to want to buy, is to save money. So we give people two different ways that they can save money. The first way is scheduling. So there's certain spots that we want to fill up in our schedule given the different times of the year. And so we give people a discount to take certain spots in our schedule. And so it's a scheduling thing. Hey, when do you want to paint, Cindy? Oh, you want to paint in April? Cool. That's some of our early season spots. If you can book with me for that April spot, that helps me out. I want to get that filled up, make sure our crews are busy. If you can take that spot, I'll save you some money. Cool? She says, cool. All right, great. So now she's like, okay, well, I want that spot, so I want to make a decision to get that spot to save that money. The second reason we give them to buy is we say, hey, can you let me know the day of the estimate? That helps me out, and I'll save you some money. And I say to my estimators, or I say to painting contractors, doesn't it help you out? If I had a magic wand and I could just say, hey, every single customer will give you a decision the day of the estimate, so you never have to follow up again, you never have to drive back to get a check, there's no follow-up ever again, would that be worth something to you? And you say, hell yeah, that'd be worth something to me. And I'm like, exactly. So just tell your customer that that's worth something to you and give them a little discount for it. And so we give people money off if they make a decision the day of the estimate. Now, the mistake that our estimators make in January is they back off of those two discounts, and they don't think it's a big deal for people to wait, and then they half-ass we call those pre-closes, they half-ass those pre-closes, and then customers don't take the estimate seriously, and then customers aren't in a buying state of mind, and then customers don't buy. So here's what we do every January now to make sure that our sales rates start really strong with our estimators. We simply get back to basics. We literally go back through, and you can look at my sales videos on YouTube, or if you're a member in the course, go revisit the fundamentals and all the sales training and all the specifics. We just go back to the fundamentals of the sales process. We role play every part of our SOPs, and we make sure that our sales team is doing every part of the sales process perfectly from day one in January. And guess what? When we do that, sales rates are high, the same they are the rest of the year when people are doing the sales process the right way. All right, so keep in mind that coming out of December, coming out of the holidays, people and your team often a little lackadaisical, they've lost their edge, they've lost their step a little bit. You need to get back in the gym. You've got to start practicing again. You've got to get back in your peak form. just like you were when you were doing a lot of estimates last season. So people are coming out of holidays, they're a little bit off. You've got to get people back in form. And then the other thing that you've got to do is make sure that you're not bringing your own concerns into the estimates. Like, it's January, people don't really need to let me know. Like, they're not even painting till June. Why would they give me a deposit now? Don't bring your own concerns into the estimate, because when you do that, you just book less jobs. Do the process, do it right, do it by the book, sales rates will be strong. That's it. I hope this video can save you years of low sales rates in January, because I know it would have saved me years of low sales rates in January and could have made me a lot of money. So I hope that makes you some money too.